our channel Trailhead Ranger NJ. And in our previous videos, and there is a series that we have done related to Apex triggers, where we covered some of the basic Apex trigger, which it can be easily asked in interviews to check your basic understanding, and what are the best practices we should use there. We have talked about that as well. In today's video, we'll be talking about that Apex unit test classes tips. First of all, what is the Apex test classes? I hope you know, there are some Apex classes which we write for our LWCs or for some backend logic, and then there is a Apex test class which needs to be written to check that all kind of scenarios should be passed through that Apex class. So there are some tips for these Apex unit test classes, what all the developers should know. So we'll be talking about all these tips. Let's move forward. So our first tip will be to keep in mind that the code storage limits. So as Salesforce allows us to only 6 MB of Apex code storage in each OR, but the Apex test classes, as Apex classes is a notator with @ is test, so these classes does not count towards the limit. That means we can write any number of code or any number of insert operation or anything, but it will not be counted in the limit, that is the 6 MB of Apex code storage. So we can just work on it without worrying about the storage limit, and we can use this to our advantage as well by creating as many as test classes as necessary to thoroughly test our code. Now second is, no separate database for testing is needed, as for main Apex classes, whatever we'll run through the Apex classes will be getting stored in our Salesforce org. But if we talk about the test classes, that is the classes which are annotated with @ is test, whatever action we'll make through these classes will not be storing in the main Salesforce org. It will automatically rolls back data changes which will be making during the test execution, and it still uses the same database as our production environment. So it can lead to issues, especially with objects which have unique field constraints. For example, if we are attempting to insert duplicate records in a test, which could result in errors. Next we have, test method can't send emails. So if you are worrying about that, if you want to test some email related Apex class via test class, you cannot do that, because test methods, that is Salesforce test classes, cannot trigger real emails, which is a very valuable feature for testing email alerts, but triggers without the risk of spamming users or admins. We don't, or Salesforce does not allow test methods to trigger real emails. Next we have, handle external callouts with mock callouts. So whatever callouts classes we make, that is REST API or any class related to API, we make test classes related to mock callouts. Mock, as the word says, that is the practice callouts, or you can say here as test callouts. So our Apex test methods cannot make real callouts to external services. Instead, what it does is it uses mock callouts to simulate the API responses and just test the our callout logic in our Apex class. So it verifies if it is working as expected or not. So we can implement the HTTP callout mock interface to create the mock responses and ensuring that the tests are not dependent on any external system or network conditions. The next tip which we should keep in mind is that we should use test.start test and test.stop test in our test methods of test class. So Salesforce provide the test.start test and test.stop test methods to create a very fresh set of governor limits within the test context. So as we discussed earlier, that in test methods there will not be any data will be stored, or there is a separate database. So suppose we are performing a insert operation, so there is a limit of how many records we can save in our database or in Salesforce org. So database limit is similar to the Salesforce org limits, so that it can verify our limit exceeding or not. So if we are suppose making our code in a way that it will be exceeding that limit, so we can reset those limit for each operation by having that particular operation operate in under test dot start test and between of test dot stop test. So it will allow us to reset the governor limits for that operation, so it won't be exceeding limit in case of test class running. So we can wrap our test code with these methods and help simulate real world condition, and even ensure that our code behaves correctly under standard governor limits, especially when performing bulk operations or callouts. Let's move on to the next tip for the apex unit test, that is the usage of at the rate test visible a notation. So first a notation we discussed, that is the at the rate is test. So if you have worked on apex test class, you might be aware that at the rate is test is annotate just before we start writing a test class. So it is written to ensure or to make visible that this class is a test class. Now we will be talking about a notation, that is at the rate test visible. So when should we use it? We need whenever we are having a private method or variable within an apex class, so we can use the at the rate test visible a notation. Suppose you are having a sorry, you are having a apex class with a method that is private static void my test method. This is a normal apex class, but this is a private method, right? And but you want to write test class for that and you want to access that private method, so you can just annotate this apex class or this method, this method specifically in that apex class with at the rate test visible. So when you will be writing test class and you want to access this particular method, that is my test method, you'll be able to access it. So this notation allows us to expose private methods or variable to our test classes without making them without making them globally accessible. Then next we have utilize test data factory. So as its name suggesting, that is test data factory, like it's a factory of a test data. So what is test data factory? It is nothing but a utility class, or in more layman terms, if I'll explain it to you, it is a apex class, it is a normal class in which we defined all the test data, or maybe some generic methods as well, suppose to create account or to create contact, which you might be requiring for your each method in your apex test class for multiple classes. So it will save the storage and the repetitive of doing each task by writing number of lines at multiple classes, so it will save your time as well. So test data factory is a utility class which generate test data for multiple test classes. It centralizes the logic for creating records, allowing you to easily maintain and reuse test data creation methods across different test classes. It reduces redundancy, promotes consistency, and makes your test easier. So I hope you understand this. Let's move on to the next tip, that is used of at the rate test setup annotation. So at the rate test setup annotation we use in apex test class. In this, what we can do, we can declare, or you can say we can define all the common test data which you need to use in your multiple methods in your particular class. So suppose my test class is my main test class, and in that I'm having methods as method 1, method 2, method 3, and all three methods require some data, like suppose account number. So that account number I can save in that at the rate test setup annotation. So at the rate test setup annotation is used within a single test class to create common test data that is shared among all test methods in that class. This method is executed once before any test methods run, which make make it ideal for setting up test data that multiple tests need. Now next we have usage of system.runs. I hope you might be able to understand this by the name of it only. So whenever you are trying to running or executing a test class, you might want to check some functionalities which might be related to a particular user based on its permission, profile, sharing rule, or anything. So you might want to run that particular test method or test class based on that user. So what you can do, you can use this, that is system.run as function there, so that you can execute that test method for as that particular user. So the system.run as method in Apex allows you to execute test code under the context of a specific user or profile, which will be checked against different permission sets, roles, sharing settings, and it helps you to ensure that your code behaves correctly across different user scenarios and even adheres to the organization's security and sharing rule. Now, next, achieve high code coverage. So, it's a globally Salesforce rule that whenever we want to move code for to the production or higher orgs, it's it is required that our each Apex class should have a coverage of 75%. So what we need to do, we need to have a Apex test class for each our normal main Apex classes, and if we run that Apex test class, it should be covering 75% of the main Apex class. Then only it will allow us to deploy these to higher org. So we need to focus on writing meaningful tests that validate both the positive and the negative scenarios and covering all the branches of your logic. What does it mean by all the branches of your logic? Suppose if we are having a function, sorry, method in a Apex class, so in that method we might be having three conditions for if, like if a variable equals to 1, then run this logic. If a equals to 2, then run this logic, else run this logic. So our Apex test class should have methods to cover all these three scenarios: if a equals to 1, or if a equals to 2, or if it is neither 1 nor 2 but any other value. So it will run that else block. So it should cover all the branches of our logic. And obviously quality is more important than quantity when it comes to testing. It doesn't mean that you will write many test class for one single Apex class or many methods for one single method, but quality is not there, it is not even covering all the lines of that particular method. So that should not happen. Yeah. So I hope you understood something, you learned something with me. And if you do, please like the video, subscribe the channel. I am just a newbie. I am also learning with you. So I can make mistakes sometimes. And yes, if you like the video, please like it, subscribe the channel, and let me know in the comment section if you have any doubt, or if you want me to cover any other topic, any other Trailhead module, or anything just related to Salesforce. Please let me know. Thank you. Stay tuned.